Hello, welcome to Chrome Cardboard TCG. My name is Kieran and I am flying solo today without my usual co-hosts of Gareth and Steve. So we've seen a lot of people online asking, what do these cards do? How do I read the card? When we watch one of your videos and you say it's 6 power or it's 5 cost or you can spend it for eddies, what am I looking at on the card? What are you referring to? Which is a fair enough question. If you're new to TCGs or if you're new to Cyberpunk TCG, it's not always obvious what is what. There can be a lot going on a card. So we figured we're going to do a short series of videos, just going over some of the basics. How to read the cards is what this video is going to be about. And we're going to do some on gameplay, how to play the game, what you can do on your turn, what your opponent's doing, how to interact, all the basic stuff that you need to know if you're interested in learning to play Cyberpunk TCG, which I hope you are because it looks like a very fun game. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to get a card up on screen. I'm just going to go through all the text and all the symbols one by one, slowly, and then you can watch it at your own leisure and learn it as you see fit. So, we have this card up. This is Adam Smasher, End of Legends. So we will start here. Adam Smasher is the name of the card, and that is in the center on the very top. Nice and simple. If you hear someone say red Adam Smasher, for example, they are likely referring to this card. The text underneath is a subheading, a subtitle. It just says End of Legends. That doesn't currently do anything in the game. It's just a nice little bit of added text to give some flavour to the cards. If you've watched the anime or you play the game, you know Adam Smasher, you know what he does, you know that's a well-deserved title. So that's all that is. So we'll move over to the top right. It says Legend on this card. So there are 4 distinctively different types in the game at the minute. So you have Legend cards, you have Unit cards, you have Program cards, and you have Gear cards. They all do completely different things, and they are all needed for different pieces of the game. You need 3 Legend cards in your Legend pool, and then the units, the programs, and the gear all go within your 40 card deck or whatever number you decide to be on. So that's that. That's simple enough. We will go into these cards in more detail in another video and explain, what legends do, what units do, etc. But for now, we're going to keep it nice and simple for you all. So the number underneath that, it says ×2. So that is your RAM cost. So this one might be a little bit difficult to grasp at the start if you're not familiar with it or if you're new to TCGs. So when you build a deck in Cyberpunk, you have 3 Legend cards. They can be from any colour pool that you wish. You can make a single colour deck, a dual colour deck, or a 3 colour deck. The world is yours. But when you do that, your legends will all have an associated RAM cost, as you can see on the top here. So if you have, say for example, 2 red legends, and they are both ×2 RAM, and then you have 1 blue legend, which has ×2, when you build your deck, any cards that go within that deck, they cannot go above a 4 RAM cost for red or a 2 RAM cost for blue. So your Legends RAM sort of decides the highest cards that you can have from a certain colour pool. I hope that makes sense to you all. Again, we will do another video on that and explain that in more detail and have some graphics up on screen. But for now, for the purpose of this video, that is your RAM cost and that is what it's associated with. So let's move over to the top left. Here you see the number 9. So that is your cost to play this card. So to play cards, you need to spend eddies in this game. Eddies are your resource. If you play Magic, it's the same as your lands. One Piece, it's the same as your Don cards, so on and so forth. So if you have 9 eddies available, you can spend your 9 eddies and you can play this card. These range from 1 cost to, I think the highest I've seen is 9 or 10 cost currently. So yeah, there's some big card costs, there's some small card costs. They will massively change depending on what you're playing. So that is your cost anyway to play the card. The symbol underneath it, that is your eddy symbol. So if you see a card with an eddy symbol on it, that means that you can sell that card from your hand and you can put it into your resource pool, and then you can use that eddy to spend towards playing a card. So when you're building your deck and when you get your opening hand, it's important to notice which cards have this symbol, which cards you can sell, which cards you can't sell. You don't want to be stuck in a situation where you don't have enough cards to sell and then you sort of stall because you can't get any eddies to play any cards. Now, again, we will go over this in more detail, but that's your cost. Anyway, that symbol means that you can sell the card for eddies, so nice and easy. Now, the next one we have will go to the bottom right of the card. So that says 9 on this one again. That is your unit's power or your legend's power. So when you play the card, he's on your board. If you wish to attack with it and you swing with a 9 power unit, that means you can deal 9 damage in effect. So if you swing for a gig and you hit your opponent for 9, that means you steal a gig. If you swing into an opponent and they use a blocker card and they block it with a value which is lower than 9, that means you win that battle, your card survives, and their card will die. So that's what that is. That is your power. Again, these go range from 1 to 10, and you can manipulate them within your decks. But that's your cost anyway. So that's a good one to look out for. Now, in the bottom left of the card, we have 001. That just means the card number. That's not really important for playing the game itself. So Adam Smash is number 1 on the set. And on the left, on the side, the text going vertical, that is just the set it is from. So that will be Cyberpunk set 1. There will be a different text down there for set 2, set 3, and 4th, and so on. Again, when you're playing the game, it doesn't really make any difference, but if you're looking for cards, so you're trying to find specific cards, then you can use that as a reference point to figure out what you need. This symbol in the center of the card on the very bottom, this is the rarity symbol. So there's common, uncommon, rare, super rare, so on and so forth. Again, doesn't massively impact the game. You do tend to find the commons and the uncommons are generally cheaper than the rares and the secret rares, etc. But it doesn't really impact the game. But it's nice to know when you open some packs and you can identify straight away what the card is that you've pulled. So that's what that is. And then we'll go into the middle of the card. So if you can see here, this card has Arasaka, and then it has Mech in 2 little text boxes on the center. These are referred to as your tags or your archetypes. Certain cards will have specific text on them that says, for example, when you attack, any Arasaka units that you have all gain +1. So if you have a unit and it has the tag and it says Arasaka, then that is one of the units that will gain +1 power. If it doesn't say Arasaka, then the card won't get any effect because it's not an Arasaka tag. So that's what they are. They're quite straightforward and simple, but they are very good things to have in a card game. Tags and archetypes. It does allow you to play around with lots of different card builds and build tribal decks. If you want to do like a Gangic deck or a Rocket deck with Johnny as your leader, it allows a lot more fun and flavour within them bits. So it is a really good thing that Cyberpunk have went ahead with this, in my opinion. And then the last section we have is the text box at the bottom. This one here, it reads "Go Solo," and then it has a wall of writing after it, and then underneath it has "Play," and then it has "Defeat a rival unit." So this text box will vary on every single card. It basically tells you what the card's secondary ability is. So with him as a legend, when you play him, he can come out and he can attack straight away, which is not normal. That's a specific ability that this card can do. There are other cards that can do that, but that's his thing. And then the play, that means on play, he will defeat a rival unit. Again, not every card can do that. So when you're reading these text bubbles at the bottom, make sure you read them carefully so that if you have cards that come out, if they activate on play, if their ability activates when they die, if it activates when you exert them, because there are numerous ways to activate abilities in this game. So just make sure you read all that and you know exactly what the ability does, when it's going to happen, and you don't, fumble the play and misplay it. We have the artist name who done the illustration, which is always nice to have, so if you do like the artwork, you can research the artist and see what else they've done. I do find playing TCGs, a lot of artists you'll see the name appear in numerous different TCGs, and then you can collect the artwork that you like from the different TCGs that you play. So it's a nice touch. It gives credit to the artist where they should get credited as well, and allows you to search for them if you wish. So I think that has now covered them all. If you do have any questions regarding cards, do feel free to comment, and we will make sure we get back in touch with you. And as I say, we will be doing another few short videos explaining some more of the basics of this card game. So yeah, look out for those. If you don't mind, please do give us a like and a subscribe, because it helps the channel massively and it helps us get more content out to you. So thank you for watching, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.